simulate for the three rate system, right? Check minus and check plus, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of modeling lately. I mean, I've just been putting them as like -1, 0, and 1 right now, but I mean, that we can same thing as my point. Hoping so.
Yeah. And Rohit, so far you guys were just doing the same thing, right? The
Yeah, so I think I think we want to try and understand how this is gonna play out, the three tier system. So I just want to hear what you guys' thoughts are. I don't have anything too much to contribute right now. I just want to
Yeah,
hear what you
yeah,
guys.
I understand. I mean, we just trying to figure out too. I'm really curious because my objective is to know whether the newbies get a chance or else, and how would um, if we have a default rate for the newbies as check, how does it work, or how does it impact sort of those things? And if we have a check minus, and then how would we, if later on if we got a higher rate, how would that impact? Those kind of examples. I don't know. That's if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Okay. Hmm. I'll at the same time I'll take the example that I made because I think Angela made it pinned. Let me let me take that too. Paper, please. Get beyond. He's now for a while. One paper. I don't thousand dozen drawing pictures. Okay, Ryan. Until I find that, can you explain a little bit of background and things?
Just in the reputation system simulation.
Yes, yes. If the simulation has some data planes, and then just like that Talibu software, I don't know whether I have seen, like, the graphs and the way it works, kind of a graphical way. But how does it? How will we see the results in your one?
So I mean, right now I've got some just distributions just to see, like, is this producing kind of a normal distribution by having this 3 check system? Um, and most of the behaviors are actually just kind of going off of randomness right now, so it's not perfectly simulating things, but at least we're getting an idea of assuming that the people in our working distributions are going to be actually random. But like what I'm hoping is, so starting with a distribution, we can then compare long-term workers versus short-term workers pretty easily in that. So I'll just have it run for a while, and then while it's running, having it introduce new workers, and that right away we can see, okay, do newbies have a chance when there's already a well-established system? So just seeing if the distributions are going to match up really well, that kind of give me an idea of, like, okay, it looks like they have an equal chance working for that. Then there's also the individual story levels. I can look at their history of just based off of like any ability or quality of work we want to put into it. I can hard code that into it, and then we can just output, okay, what's their behavior over time, given whatever environment we choose for, with the normal distributions we have for it, or if there's some special ones that come out of it. So that's kind of the initial ideas I've had. So I like how I've kind of set it up to where we can run those specific scenarios that have been discussed about before, and see if they match up with our expectations or something just completely weird happening. So far, nothing too surprising is going on with it, and I have a few graphs I can show here in a little bit. I'll probably throw it in a wiki by this week, so we can all just take a look at it.
Okay.
But yeah, the one thing I'm wondering if how we can actually like work this as a way to present it, either in the paper or, I mean, ideally in the paper we want real people working on it, and like real people data back rather than just a simulation. But is there any way this can be beneficial right away for anybody?
I would like to see. Let's say first, let me let me first explain the model that how I understood to see the mental model that I have is synced with you all.
Okay.
I shared the slides with you in the chat section.
Yeah, I think I do have these slides already, so that's good.
Okay, I went as check minus, check, and check plus, and I gave default check rating for newbies, and I worked with some examples having 3-4 requesters and 3-4 workers, and workers, some are new, 1 new and 3 old ones. Let's take the scenario with the names so that we can really understand. I'm in the slide 4.
Okay.
I take a few workers. Let's say I have 4 workers, 3 are new, 3 are old, and 1 is new. Alice, Bob, and Peter are old workers, and Greg is new. We assume that Alice is already in the system, and he's a very bad worker, and Bob is good, and Peter average, and we gave Greg a default system rating as check because he's a new one. And
Okay.
the other assumption is we have 4 requesters on the board. 3 is old requesters, and Harry is a new requester, default rating just check, and others are Mary is the oldest one, has a very reputed requester, and then Tina minus, and Ria just average. So we assume one day Mary, the oldest requester, or the well-reputed requester, got some work done from Alice, Bob, Peter, and Greg. Those are 4 workers that she worked with. And then end of the task, Mary rated Alice the topmost. Mary said, Alice, you have done a great job for me, so I gave you check plus. And then for Bob's check plus, and for Peter, you have done an average job, so I'll give you average one. For Greg, Mary said, no, I don't want your work at all, so she gave check minus. But in the previous row, Alice, Bob, and Peter, they all had some ratings beforehand, right? Before Mary gave them rates, they already had some rates with them. Did you understand that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So once Alice finished Mary jobs, Alice rated Mary. Even though you gave me, higher rates, I don't like you as a requester because I haven't got the payment, right then or something. So Alice rated Mary minus, and then Bob rated Mary average, and Peter minus, and everybody else minus. So Mary, at the end of the task, Mary got some ratings from the workers, and requester got some rating for the workers as well. So we got those details. Now, as same as that, for the next time, now that they have rated each other, 7th slide, Angela. Now going to the 8th one. Because Mary rated the workers plus, minus, and all, the list will work as this. Now, if Mary has a work again, she would have Bob as first preference. Now that this work is finished, but another day, Mary has a work again. But because she has been working with Alice, Bob, Peter, Greg, she will have her list of workers first priority given to Bob because she rated Bob as the plus, as well as Bob previously had plus, and those became average as plus. So that's the first preference she get. And then next is Alice, because Mary rated Alice again plus, but she had minus previously, so aggregate of the average is below Bob. So that's how I rated, because based on Mary's ratings and the worker's previous rates took as an average, and then select the worker order for Mary. Is that clear? I mean, am I clear, or is that the same model that you all had?
I think that's around the same what I've been doing. I've been just having it. I've just been having the reputation being an average of all their ratings they've ever received, which seems like pretty much what you're doing too.
Okay. There was another conversation saying that whether to take the average or the previous rating, right? Do we have an argument to, decide to take the previous rating, or should we, focus on average?
Well, that's I think average. My personal opinion, I think, is average would be better because it at least encompasses a lot more ratings than just one, and that's kind of the benefit of like crowd rating. But I mean, that's one thing that we could like run through in the simulation. I could just see how it affects. I mean, people they might be maybe they'll do a better amount of jobs or worse amount of jobs.
My focus also the average rating. So yeah, so I see the Slack also focusing on average. Okay, so fine. Now I take another scenario, slide 9, Dina, which is not a very good reputed worker. If you can remember, I'll show you again. Dina has very bad. Dina being a very bad requester. She had as an average rating of check minus. But still, she managed to work with Alice, Bob, and Peter, Greg, and then end of the task. Dina rated Alice plus, Bob plus, Peter minus, Greg plus, and Dina got rated as plus from Alice, and check as Bob, and other twos are minus. So let's see how Dina's list work. Because Dina rated Alice plus, Alice and Bob plus, still she get Bob as her first preference because Bob has 2 pluses, aggregate is plus. So as same as that, Greg will be, Peter will be the last in her list because she gave a minus check. So again the same thing. So now we take the slide 12, which is a new scenario. Now we talked about 2 workers. One is very good reputed worker and the other one is very bad reputed worker. And then this scenario is a new worker. The new worker got a average rating, default rating from the system as check. So he worked with Alice, Bob, and Peter, and then end of the task they rated each other, and Harry rated Peter as the first preference because they got talking the average is the check is the highest here, and then next is Bob, and then next is Alice. Is it? Yes, Peter, Alice, Bob.
So these are, I'm just make sure I'm 100% right. So in slide 14, which shows say Peter has the 2 checks, these are the ratings they received from the previous 2 jobs they've done, meaning the one being the most recent one with Harry, and then Peter just being a previous one before?
No, the first one, is slide 13. When you take the column where Alice, Bob, Peter is there, the first ratings are the average ratings, and the next ratings are the ratings given by Harry.
So both of these are from Harry? So both on the ones on the right there?
One's on the right
okay,
is the rating got by Harry, and one's on the left is ratings got average ratings that they already had.
Okay.
So adding them together, Alice minus and Alice check is aggregate will be I assume like a check, it's it's less than the Peters average. Does that make sense?
Okay.
We should have had some numbers so that it makes much more sense. For me, I thought like adding plus and minus would be it's lower than adding check and check.
Yeah, that's how I've been doing it. So in this case, -1 is equal to check minus. Check is just a 0, and then check plus is just a 1. That's how I've been running it all.
Okay. Okay, then so far, yes, mental model is fine. I'm glad.
How are you running your simulation, Ryan?
So right now I have it. It's just initializing a bunch of workers and requesters, about like 100 each. They all just start with 0 reputation. They have a set like random ability, a random quality for workers, so that way they have to have an ability to be able to do work. Essentially, that's why the requester would be getting workers who can do the work needed to be done, and they have a quality. So where if their quality of work meets the threshold of the requester, then that's kind of what bases on how they're going to be getting a rating.
Is this just like
have it iterate? What?
Excel spreadsheet, or is this like an Excel spreadsheet, or?
Oh no, I'm doing this in Python.
Oh, you're doing it in Python. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so I just have it iterating through about like 100 jobs right now for each requester, and just kind of seeing what's happening. And I'm starting adding it to where now new workers are being introduced into the system as more jobs are being completed.
Okay. Is the acceptance, like the ratings, are they randomized, or is it just, can you favor certain requesters or certain workers more than others, or?
Yeah, that's kind of what I've added recently in that. So they do have a history, so similar to what we talked about, how like now requesters do have a preference toward workers they previously worked for and did like their work. So there is a priority listing that I have for each requester when they're looking for a job.
Okay.
And I'm going to use that. That's kind of what I've been thinking about, how to implement the cascade model into that. So that, not everything is broadcasted immediately to everybody. It's broadcast, the top view, then it kind of works its way across.
Is there any way to access this model?
Oh yeah, I sent out my GitHub for it. It should be on there. I can send it out again if you need it.
Okay. Is it just your same ID as you have here?
Yeah, just
GitHub is pinned in the Slack, I guess, or else you can just the link.
Let me see if I can find it.
I'll just pull it up really quick if you can't find it.
It's hard to search for things on Slack.
Let me see. I think we had it on.
All right, I'll put it on Slack just so you can look it up really quick.
Great, thanks.
Yeah. And feel free to modify it as much as you want. Just
we'll take a look.
Yeah.
And another thing, how are we going to have we decided a cascading model? Like sometimes there were some arguments like we release the task. We to release the work we take the task worker ratio, something like that, to keep the demand. That was proposed by Rijul, I guess, and there were some other proposals as well. So I wonder how are we thinking to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I already have in one of my methods inside of the requester class, I already have the priority queue being set up in there. So all we'd have to do is, just take our idea and then just kind of re-implement that for how we would want to, I guess, cascade its broadcasting to a job to get done. So I've been trying to set this up to where it'd be very easy and quick to modify it to match the majority of the ideas we've been talking about with this 3-point scale system. So like if we had an idea really quick, like okay, let's just see how it behaves compared to our baseline, which is what I've been mostly working on right now. So we just right away have like, okay, we like these changes or we don't like these changes.
So far, the newbies get a chance, and then the ecosystem will that they. Just a minute, I think I'm.
Sorry, I think you're kind of breaking up there.
Yes. Okay, let's. So far, when you give a rate, a default rate as check to the newbies, are they, falling into the normal distribution?
Yeah, so far it looks like it's not hurting them too much. I need to actually like output that completely to take a look at that. I haven't got a graph of that yet, but that's something I'll run that and get that up right away. And I'm gonna get just a wiki page going and just start adding my results as I go there. And like if we have a question, then I'll immediately try to get going on that.
Yeah. And do you think it will significantly change if we have a new rating scale for newbies? Let's say now at this moment we gave a default rating as check for newbies. There was another proposal saying to have another scale for newbie, which having them just below the check workers.
I mean, I could try that out. I'm not sure exactly how it'd behave. I mean, outside of just a similar math model, I'm just wondering how requesters would feel about that. I mean, with a lower score, I don't think it'd be too bad. But if we like gave newbies a high score immediately, then I think the requesters might have a lot of trust in that reputation system. But yeah, that's just it's a enough idea though. I don't have too much to back that up.
If we put ourselves into the requesters' shoes, like, how would we want to see the newbies? Like, are they surely will be more than check minus, but can they be the same level as check, or just in between check and check minus?
I'm not too sure. I mean, most reputation systems I've seen, they just literally have a newbie just stick at the average, except for like ones, because I think Stack Overflow does it differently. But yeah, for most like competitive ones, I've just seen them to just put them in the average because I mean, there's nothing else we can really say about them because we just don't really know.
Yeah, my argument also to be in the average scale for the newbie, because we want to keep the ecosystem where new ones get the work as well as the quality work should be there. I mean, we can't guarantee that new ones are giving the quality work, but having the most experienced workers on top and having next level, it's the mix of check and the new ones.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think it'd be interesting to see if there is any differences, and I could try running those involved in it between giving it like just a simple check versus giving them the average reputation. And there's maybe some more advanced ones we can go into, but for right now, I'll just look at those two.
Mm-hmm. So far from the results, if I'm to conclude, like, what's the outcome? You can, as a glance, if you can see, are they distributed normally, with the large scale of data?
With the first ones I've run, it doesn't seem like it's the in between -1 and 1, like excluding that, it looks like it actually is being pretty normal with a slight skew on a positive rating. So on average, they're getting about a 0.48. So in this case, that's between a check and a check plus. But then there's a lot of people that do get that are like outcome or like that. Yeah, they do have like a -1 and a 1 reputation. And so these are older versions of the simulation so far, though, so I'm kind of trying to progress it, and as it's going, I'm hoping that's going to become more normal. So that's why I haven't really posted too many results on it yet, because it's still got a little bit of more of tweaking to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I really was curious, like, what kind of questions we wanted to answer out of this. So I've been kind of writing down the ones you've been asking so far. So I was wondering if there's any other remaining questions that I might be able to help out with this, like just to get some information, like get some data on it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If we have a lot of check plus people, like, if we can have, if a worker has 50 odd plus people, and then I feel like then the newbies go the latter one, right? Latter in the stack of their task.
Sorry, repeat that.
Now, if I'm here as a requester, I have given so many plus to 50 workers.
Okay.
Now, my stack, next time when I have a job, my stack, I will have 50 plus workers on top of me. Or
right.
No, it doesn't.
Well, you have 50 workers that you did like the work from, and so I've also been adding the reputation involved in it too.
So
the reputation of workers.
Average reputation plus my plus, right?
Right, yeah. So it's like, okay, I like this person and they have a high reputation. I'm going to prefer them over somebody who I did like who had a little bit lower reputation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think I got the picture correct because I haven't had a chance to verify with anybody what I had in my mind is correct as others had. Okay. Now but specifically I brought you two questions. Right? Which point exactly work for the newbies? We kind of
So at which point?
We kind of agreed for the average one check.
Right, that one seems the most intuitive based off of previous work, and I think mostly just whatever we've always discussed, it makes sense. I'll compare it to running it with some other possible starting points just to see what kind of is an outcome from that. So I've got that down to try running that this week too.
Okay. And what other possible scenarios that we can think of? Having, let's say, assume that I'm a minus worker. If I want to become a good worker, what can I do? I mean, how do I know that? What do I have to do? As thinking from the system point of view, what action should I be taking? I definitely, of course, I have to work hard and get some pluses from the work requester. Is there a way that...
So essentially, like asking the question, can a worker with a low reputation get themselves out of having a low reputation?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll see if there's any workers in this that already had a low reputation that did manage to get their way out of it, just to see if I can match up what circumstances got them out of it.
So this is an ecosystem that we are thinking of. I like works from Ryan, so I keep hiring you again and again, and you get a chance to say at one point, no, I don't want to work with you, even though you gave me higher rates. Is it?
Yeah, so that's related to like the worker's preference for the requester as including the requester's preference for the worker, right? Those two working together.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So far, I don't see any problems, but of course I prefer to see the bios and then the portfolios before I select a worker. But at this moment, since we are just trying to get the minimalistic system on running, this check minus check and check plus seems to be alright as my point of view. As I think that would fit to the paper as well. Let's see if there's any objections in the channel and with the scenarios of the different, we can think of any other misbehaviors in a story, like, what if a minus worker suddenly got a work done for a request and got a plus, and then he would appear in the middle or the low, very low, still low. How does it work? Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the kind of things I'm hoping to get working on. I mean, hopefully tomorrow would be great, is to run through some of the scenarios we're talking about. See, for one thing, how often do they occur, if they even occur at all, and how does it affect it when it does occur.
Okay, that makes sense. I think it's pretty much clear for me. And when would you think you can, kind of send a draft wiki so that others will have a more fun idea?
I'm probably over the next 2 days. I'm gonna work on this a decent amount of time tomorrow. Hopefully something will come out of it. I don't like making exact promises really quick, so that's why I think within 2 days is definitely possible. Especially lately, I've been having problems predicting the amount of time it would take me to get something done. But anyway, yeah, I'll be working on this tomorrow. I'll get at least a draft wiki going, and I'll probably have like a good draft by Thursday. Thursday my time.
Okay, so anyway we'll be having a chat with Michael tomorrow. Tomorrow for me, and tonight for maybe US. So yeah, thanks Ryan. We'll follow up.
Yeah, and I'll try to get synced up better with the paper writing too, and try to help out with the. You said that I should work on the system section for the paper.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'll work on that too.
Okay. Okay. See you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks.